What if something invisible, something that hated you, moved into your home, and you couldn't make it leave? Not a stranger, not an animal, something that could speak your name, something that could see in the dark, something that knew your secrets. This isn't a movie. This isn't a campfire story someone made up to scare children. This happened to a real family on a real farm, and the United States government officially recorded it as fact. Welcome to the Bell Witch, the most widely documented paranormal event in American history, and the only case where a death has ever been officially attributed to a supernatural entity. John Bell moved his wife Lucy and their children from North Carolina to Robertson County, Tennessee, where he purchased 320 acres of farmland along the Red River. The family lived a peaceful life for 13 years. 13 years of quiet mornings, 13 years of normal nights, and then 1817 arrived. It began when John Bell spotted a strange animal in his fields, something that looked like a dog, but with the head of a rabbit. He tried to kill it. He failed. And from that moment forward, nothing in the Bell household would ever be peaceful again. It started with sounds, thumps in the walls, creaking and groaning in the dark, scratching at the windows in the middle of the night. The family told themselves it was rats. It was the wind. It was the wood settling. They were wrong. At first, the presence seemed almost playful. Objects moved on their own. Unexplained knocks echoed through every room. Then came voices, faint at first, barely a whisper, sometimes singing hymns, sometimes quoting scripture word for word. But then it turned. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, began waking up screaming. Her hair violently yanked. Her cheeks slapped. Her skin covered in welts and scratches that appeared from nowhere. No one had touched her. No one visible anyway. The entity could speak. It could move physical objects. It could shapeshift. Witnesses reported it appearing in multiple locations at the same time. It seemed to know things it had no way of knowing. Secrets, private conversations, thoughts that had never been spoken out loud. It wasn't just haunting them. It was hunting them, and it had already chosen its target, the father. John Bell, the man it had decided would not survive. For 3 years, the entity tormented John Bell without mercy. His face would swell without warning. His tongue would go numb. His jaw would seize, locking shut so tight he couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't speak. Doctors examined him and walked away confused. Not one of them had seen anything like it. They prescribed remedies. Nothing worked. They tried again. Nothing changed. And through every single episode, that voice, that invisible mocking voice, laughing, taunting, calling him Old Jack Bell. She made him a promise over and over again. She was going to kill him. She said it so many times that the family stopped flinching when they heard it. You can only hear a death threat so many times before it starts to feel like noise. That was their mistake. Nobody believed something invisible could actually murder a man. They were wrong. On the morning of December 20th, 1820, John Bell was found unresponsive in his bed. His breathing was shallow. His skin was gray and cold to the touch. By the time the sun fully rose over Robertson County, he was dead. The family rushed to the medicine cabinet where his treatment bottles were stored. What they found made them stop breathing. The usual bottles were gone. In their place sat a single small vial, filled with a strange dark liquid that no one in the house recognized. No one had put it there. No one knew where it came from. No one had seen anyone enter the room. Before anyone could speak, the witch's voice filled the house, loud, triumphant, almost joyful. She told them exactly what had happened. She had crept into the room while John slept. She had poured the liquid down his throat herself. And she had stayed and watched until he stopped breathing. The family tested the dark liquid on the farm cat. The animal was dead within minutes. They threw the vial into the fireplace. It exploded in a burst of blue flame. Nearly 2 centuries later, researchers analyzed every recorded symptom. The blue flame, the neurological episodes, the paralysis, the faint smell of garlic reported on John's breath in his final hours. Every single detail pointed to one conclusion: arsenic poisoning, administered slowly, deliberately, over a long period of time. Something had planned his death from the very beginning. At his funeral, as his family wept over his grave, the witch did not go silent out of respect. She sang. She laughed. She mocked the grieving family as they lowered him into the cold ground. She got exactly what she came for. Before leaving the property, she made 2 promises. She would return in 7 years, and she did. Then she promised to return once more, 107 years later, to find the most direct Bell descendant still living. That would have been 1935. No one knows what happened that year. The Bell farm still stands today in Adams, Tennessee. The cave on the property is open to visitors, and those who walk into it report the same feeling coming out. They don't feel like they walked out alone. Some things never truly leave. Thanks for watching Whisper of Dark. If this story sent chills down your spine, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We explore the darkest mysteries, unsolved crimes, and terrifying tales every week.